41 years ago, 13 May 1969, I was here, in school and in the dark room, processing films, when Brother Augustine came in late afternoon and told us to pack up and go home because he said there was trouble in town. We of course did not know what the trouble was, and presumably neither did Brother Augustine. But we packed up and we left. So every day I will take that road, of course Jalan Bukit Nanas, down this way, cross Jalan Gereja, onto Jalan Hang Lekyu, and onto Fork Avenue where I will take my bus Srijaya to Paramount Garden where we were living. It's Fork Avenue, F-O-C-H, not F-U-C-K. This is where I take my bus every day, the Srijaya bus to Paramount Garden to go home. And that was quite late in the afternoon. I can't quite remember what time it was, but I must have been quite lucky because if I had been a bit later, maybe I could be one of the victims in the cinema that was here. And in this cinema, apparently quite a number of people got killed. This could be where I got off the bus to walk to my house. This is the street in Paramount Garden where I lived in '69, in one of these houses. I remember coming home, arriving home, my mother was quite frantic and she said there was trouble in town. And I also remember we had a neighbor by the name of Mr. Tan who lived with his Mat Saleh boyfriend, and he told us that if there's any sign of trouble, jump over to his house, and also the other neighbor as well. But Paramount Garden was very peaceful. We were, of course, a bit nervous and we didn't sleep because we were the only one of two Malay families living around here. But luckily it was very peaceful. But in the evening, we tuned into my father's Grandic radio, tuned into the FM channel, and we heard some police chatter. And I remember hearing something like, "Kita kena kepung," and then another voice saying, "Bagi tembakan amaran," or something like that, and we hear the pop, 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 pop of rapid small arms fire. So that apparently was in Kampung Tengku, which is not very far from here, only about 5 miles or so. But after a few days, there was a break in the curfew, and we went out and we bought provisions at the shop house over there, and everything was as though nothing had happened at all. It was very peaceful. And I thank my neighbors then, whom I don't know now, for the peace and harmony that they maintained throughout the days of trouble elsewhere in the country. This is Lorong Raja Bot, where my uncle said it was a scene of much fighting. He was living in a family house just down the road here. And a few days after 30 May '69, after curfew was lifted for a few hours, we came to visit the family, and we saw that a few of the shops here have been gutted. My uncle said that these were done by outsiders because the day before 13 May, people had come to the house to ask if they could spend the night, because they all had come from all over the country to be with Dato' Harun's counter rally. This was the or this is still the house, this is the family house where my uncle was living in with his family. And my auntie, who's Chinese, was frantic on that night of 13th May because she had heard some screaming. So my uncle had gone down from the house and gone to the back and took this girl away from some people to the safety of a temple just nearby. In the old days, this was the back lane and the house is just over here. And this is where my uncle had taken this poor girl, okay, and he would have carried her along this little alleyway now. But of course, it wasn't like this during the old days. This is the temple that my late uncle had said where he left the poor girl because he couldn't take her anywhere else. There was absolutely havoc in this entire area. So he left her there. And of course he didn't know what happened to her after that. So we've come here, Jalan Raja Muda in Kampung Baru. And somewhere here is or was the house of Datuk Harun. And Datuk Harun was then the Menteri Besar of Selangor. And this is where everybody is supposed to gather. And they were to start their counter procession from here. Now, of course, the house doesn't exist anymore. One of these lots is the house. The house is now gone. And some development is taking place. Maybe they should have left the house as it is, made it into some sort of a memorial for 13 May so that people will not forget the kind of pain that others had endured because of politics. So that comes to the end of my journey anyway, reminiscing what happened during 13 May where I was concerned. And that was it. Maybe one entire day was squeezed into a few minutes. This is Shufiyan Shukur, Malaysiakini.tv.